I'm Treasure Wilson, aka Stat Baby, along with your hosts Mase and Cam, and today we are joined with our analyst Maurice Claret.
Mo, what's going on? Killer, what's good?
Murder, what's good? Mo, how you doing today, bro?
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Mo,
How your brother's doing out there?
I'm good,
you out there looking like you running for congressman or something.
Yeah. Well, I thought you was gonna talk about my tree. You ain't sit my palm tree. That's what I thought you
told
was
you
gonna
the
say.
over and under on that, nigga. I already told you that.
The tree, I said for Christmas,
He
Mo.
forgot he said that. Stat just reminded
Yeah,
him that.
listen, thank you.
Come on.
No, Stat is just keeping it real. She's from Jacksonville. She's from the crib. She can't afford to be going against me this early. Christmas is coming up, Mo.
Well, I appreciate the compliment, but I thought, Stat, you're supposed to be on our side, right? This one, right?
I mean, he literally said,
Mo, I'm
before
gonna get you
Christmas-
that tree. The tree is a palm tree, Mo. You can't just rush those kind of things, man. They're not like Amazon Prime, you know?
So you would have to ask for my address first in order for me to send the tree, right?
Facts.
Mo, come on, you gotta know I know your address, nigga. I'm a street nigga in a suit. I wouldn't have you this close to us if I didn't know where you stay at, Mo.
There you go. Well, that makes two of us, right?
Yeah, Mo. I don't know, you know?
Okay, so glad to have you today, Maurice. We're gonna get started. We got some good thought-provoking questions that I want y'all's opinions on, so we're going to start with this. So we've seen the runs that super teams can go on in the NBA. Maurice, do you think super teams are dead in basketball?
Yeah, I believe that super teams are dead. And the reason I think that they're dead because the NBA is starting to shift to what I believe is more of a blend of international players. And I personally believe that I don't think when it comes to just building super teams, I think super teams were built around personal brands of just players trying to, one, they're famous themselves, but then trying to win championships. And I just don't think a lot of international players, and I could be wrong, but it's just my opinion, I don't think that that is like the focal point of a lot of international guys. I don't think they come up that way. I don't think that the promotion of just self is as big overseas as it is domestically, and so that's why I think for the most part, super teams are dead.
Yeah, I think when it comes to super teams, that they still do exist. They're not dead. I think they're just going about it in a more charismatic way of how they're building these super teams. Most of them are just coming from the draft, like they get one star player, and then as you notice, they start working. It's almost like they tank 2 years in a row or have 2 bad years in a row. They get 2 phenomenal players, and then they save up their cap because they're dealing with rookies, and they just go out and get a phenomenal piece to add to that team, and then they have a homegrown super team, if I could say that. It's not just generated through trades anymore. Now they're growing those teams. Look at OKC is similar to what they did. They had Czech. They drafted Czech, then they drafted Jay Will, then they traded for Shea, and now that's considered a super team, but it's not one that came with a lot of trades.
I think when you draft niggas, that's not really a super team, my personal opinion. I get what Mace is saying, like you tanking to get him. I don't agree with that. Some teams do be tanking though. I'm not gonna say that's not a fact. But it's like me and Sin have this argument. Now, when you add Kevin Durant to Golden State, absolutely, it turns into a super team. But when you always be like, yo, they got Clay, they got Draymond, they got Steph. They drafted these niggas. And it ain't like they got #1 picks. When you think about Steph Curry, he's number 8 in the draft. You think about Clay, he's not a first pick. You think about Draymond, he's winning the second round. And that's the core of the team. And Mace is absolutely right. You put pieces around that to make it a great team, but that's what every team does. I think the reason why people are saying there's no more super teams are not like that is because the teams, when they try and manufacture them, they not winning. You think about Kawhi Leonard and Paul George going to the Clippers, they like, uh-oh, the Clippers might be the best team in LA. No, it didn't work out. Whether it's injury or anything else, it's not working out. No, we've seen a lot of success when, to me, the era where it started at, and I'm not even talking about like Shaq and Kobe, I think where it started at when people think they needed 3 players or so, is when you had KD, KG, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and
Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce.
And niggas like, oh, that's the formula. That's the formula. You think about it, they only won one championship. The next year, Kobe and Pau Gasol, they won actually a couple. And you can sit there and say, well, Andrew Bynum played, but he wasn't on the level of them. There was only two people. You think about teams like the Spurs, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, all with the Spurs from the very beginning. You know, Bruce Bowen, I throw some pieces in, but every team is gonna have pieces in. Jamal Murray, the Joker. These are players that got drafted. And then you sit there and be like, yo, they're great, but I had an argument with the nigga Sin again. He didn't realize the Joker been in the league like 8-9 years before he actually started getting his credit. Because he comes out the blue to people who not paying attention to the league like that. They'll be like, where the Joker come? Nigga, he been there on the bench and all that from the time he got from overseas. He got there. I just think that they're not as obvious. Mace made a great point. He might be disguising them, but I wouldn't call it a super team. Like, it's dead obvious when Chris Bosh and LeBron James is leaving their respective teams, which were both in the playoffs. Cleveland was in the playoffs and the Toronto Raptors was in the playoffs before they went to Miami, which was already in the playoffs. So you're saying, like, look, the East ain't even gonna have no chance because there's already two teams where their leading scorers were on that team, and now you went to another team. I just don't think that it's working like it used to, and you know, GMs might be like, this may not be the format.
And even when you think of that Miami team, Mo, not to cut you off, but they even added a sneaky Ray Allen, you know, so it ended up being a fourth player. So they have 4 All-Stars, really.
So I think we can all agree that we've seen the game evolve and then change in ways that we might not have expected. So what do you guys think the formula is now to win, or do you think that there's not a formula at all, Maurice?
Yeah, I think it's through depth. I think that you have to have a bench. I don't think that 5 players are 2 or 3 superstars and a couple guys are going to get it done. I think you have to have 6 or 7 guys. You have to have a large rotation in regards to either wearing the team down and allowing your bench to score points. But I don't think 3 guys and a couple, normal guys are getting it done. I think 6, 7, 8 guys who you have to have in rotation. And I think if you look over the league over the last few teams that's won, I think that's the formula. And I think that's what more teams are building around or building their franchises towards.
Yeah, when it comes to championships, what's the question again?
Yeah, like, what do you think the formula is now to win? 'Cause
To
we felt
win-
like we had it before. But
Yeah, I think it's always been a dominant wing player, as well as somebody that shows up in the front court. Every championship team I can remember has had that, whether it's Shea and there's somebody like Chet or one of them showing up down low, or you have Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, or you have Kobe Bryant, and you have Shaquille O'Neal, or you have Vernon Maxwell and Hakeem Olajuwon. The only team I don't remember that had a dominant player on the front court was the Chicago Bulls. But other than that, it seemed like every other team did. Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul, whether you're talking about LeBron James, and then you got, what's his name, Kevin something? Kevin that was playing power forward.
Kevin Love.
Yeah, Kevin Love. Or Bosh, LeBron, and Wade. It's always been that way to me.
I agree with Mo. I think that it's depth these days. You see niggas that don't even get to the championship because they're tired towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there worn out. You know, like, you can make a case for that with the Knicks. You sit there and see Thibodeau run them niggas into the ground, and then injury starts happening towards the end of the year, and they're hobbled, and then they can't finish the playoffs out. You know, we seen that happen with Cleveland last year. Cleveland won a record-breaking year without a LeBron James on the team, and then when playoffs came, they were hobbled. OKC last year, Caruso did a great job coming off the bench. Wallace, Isaiah Jordan. Then they had key players like Dork, especially Dork. I like that dude a lot. We don't mention his name a lot on this show, but I thought he was, even though he doesn't get a lot of light, I think he needs to get more light because you don't win that championship without him. But I totally agree with you, Mo. I think it's definitely, especially with players getting so injured all the time.
Yeah.
And then hopefully that fixes soon, because we've seen a lot of players that we've wanted to see perform who quite literally just can't because of injury. So it's been a letdown. But of course, this has been happening since the beginning of the time. But I just feel like right now is getting to some of the teams. So Mase, you mentioned star players and you also talked about dominant players, but I'm going to ask Maurice this first. Who do you think are box office athletes this year, if any?
I don't know. When I think of box office, I think first you got to define that term of like somebody who's coming to your town, somebody you've heard of, somebody who, if you have kids, they know them, the adults know them, somebody want to come and see them. And I think that there's a lot of good players. I don't know if I'm getting old. I think there's a lot of good players that people would like to see if they had time. But I don't see any box office must-see TV athletes anymore. And I don't know if that make me feel old or I sound old, but I just don't see it anymore where there's people who come to your town and you feel like you have to go and see them because they're that spectacular. I just think like that whole notion of superstardom in some regard is like faded. And I don't know if it's like that's the reason that we said we don't have a face of the NBA, but I just don't see any box office athletes that me personally, for somebody who keeps up with the sport, that I would like to see.
I couldn't disagree more than what Mo just said. I think when you're talking about Wemby is definitely box office. Ja Morant is box office. I mean, to my preference.
Yeah.
Ant-Man would definitely be box office. These are people you would have to see play. I would even say Stephen Curry is still box office to me, because the way he plays the game is still elusive. Is still when he's playing is still different from everybody else that I see playing the game. It's almost like he has this whole different style of basketball than everybody else is playing. So I definitely think he's must see TV. And when Zion is healthy, Zion is must see TV.
You say box office like Mo said, I don't know the definition. Like you have to explain the definition, because Stat didn't say basketball player, she said athlete. It's a bunch of people that be in the fucking stands for the last 9 weeks with Shedeur Sanders jerseys on. Even though he's not playing, niggas is out there. So he's not considered a superstar, but he's somebody people want to see. So that's why I'm saying, what is the definition of box office? I know to me, box office means superstar. You got to do everything to see this person play because he's great no matter what it is. So I just want to say that, because it's one thing just want to see somebody, and somebody can consider somebody a star whether they're playing or not. Like to me, Shedor's a star whether he's on the field or not. He's selling fucking however hundreds of millions of dollars in jerseys, to where like everybody wants a Shedeur Sanders jersey. It's a collector's item. So that's first and foremost. But if we're talking about actual superstars that's playing the game, I agree with Mase as far as Steph Curry's concerned. Wemby, the way he started off the year. I even agree to Ja Morant. As much stuff as we say about him on not being the person he was on the court, his sneakers sell out in 6 minutes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Mace made a great list of people that I consider box office. But as far as football is concerned too, because Stats said athletes, it's a bunch of people that if you're a real big football fan, you want to see play. This hotel yesterday morning, and they didn't even know Mike Irvin's gonna be here, flooded with fucking Cowboy jerseys. Flooded, man. You know what I'm saying? And it may not just be a person on the Cowboys, you know, but it's Cowboy fans everywhere. We're in fucking Vegas, and it's one Vegas jersey and 92 Cowboy jerseys just on the walk to get to my car. So you may sit there and say, yo, I love Dak Prescott. Seen a bunch of CeeDee Lamb jerseys yesterday. It depends on what your definition is, but if we're talking about basketball, I think Mace brought a pretty good list up.
Then I'm curious now, Mase, because you did bring up your basketball list, but does any football box office athletes come to mind?
Oh man, yeah. Josh Allen would definitely be on that list. Watching him play as of lately, and who else? You know, definitely Patrick Mahomes will be on that list, and then you got Saquon. Saquon is must-see TV, and I know that because I'm from New York, I'm supposed to say Scatterboo. Is that his name, Scatterboo? as well as
Y'all know.
Jalen Brunson. You know, Jalen Brunson, just for Sin City's sake, he'll love to hear that. You put Jalen Brunson. I think he's growing into must-see TV because, you know, when you do well in a New York market, it's like your name get bigger than anywhere else. So I would definitely say that.
I can agree.
Just curious, because I know we're talking about box office and like stars and like what's making money.
And Terrence Crawford.
Oh yeah.
Terrence Crawford is definitely
Yeah.
must-see TV.
This is like, it's not really a personal question, but do you own a Patrick Mahomes jersey? Do you have one? Okay, I'm just like, we're talking about box office and like your favorite team. You know, I was just curious.
It's too early for this.
Okay. You know, I just think that was a good question. Just had to ask. Okay, so now reflecting, right? Who do y'all think is the most overhyped franchise in sports history? We're talking a lot about individual players. Now let's talk about franchise and teams. Maurice, who comes to mind?
Well, it's two, and I don't think this is going to be of any surprise. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Knicks.
Oh my
I
goodness.
just think that, yeah, but when you're talking about people who are two delusional fan bases, now the Knicks aren't as delusional because they've made it further and closer to a championship run, but the Cowboys, they may have, and I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, so let's set that record straight. We 2-7, I think, or 2-8, one of those. We play the Raiders coming up, but the Cowboys just won I think it's their fourth game, but the Cowboys they have the most delusional fan base. They think that this is the mid-90s, and they swear that they, even when I seen y'all on the show yesterday, and he was asking Mike about did they have a chance to be in the playoffs, and he thinks that they mathematically eligible in some form or fashion.
Mike crazy. I love that nigga. That nigga crazy.
Yeah, but he's delusional, man. I love him to death, but he's crazy.
I told him to his face. That's my bro. I had to let him know.
I would go on record and say the most overhyped franchise would definitely be the Cowboys. I would say the Cowboys and the Lakers as of late.
I'm totally agreeing with Mo, 100%. Those are absolutely the two most delusional and overrated fan bases. Neither one of these teams has won a championship this century. Like, my nigga, that's what I told Mike. I said, you win the shit since the 1900s. Fuck is you talking about? Mike talking about, if we dig down deep and then we come up and win Philadelphia next year, we have a chance to be five. Mike, what the fuck is you talking about, man? You haven't won nothing since 1996, and you say, Mo, that, and there's no wrong answer when you sit there and be like, Cowboys is more delusional than the Knicks, or the Knicks. Me personally, I'm going with the Knicks, because at least the Cowboys won more recently. Last championship in 1996. We are not been alive. I'm not going to say this for the 999th time on the show. So nobody's been old enough to see the Knicks win a championship. Think about this: the last time the Knicks won a championship, Phil Jackson was playing. Yeah, like against Pat Riley, shit like that. Like what the? This is the last time this is the last time niggas played in the championship, the Knicks. So at least the Cowboys, I actually was alive to see them actually win a championship. So, but you know what's crazy about the Knicks fans? As soon as and like I said, this is the Knicks year. I tell all the Knicks fans, look, this is the year to do it. Tatum's not there, Halliburton's hurt, y'all whole team is back, y'all have some chemistry from last year. It gotta happen this year. But what I'll say is like, yo, the reason why Knicks fans be delusional, as soon as they get bumped out the playoffs, and there's still other games going on, they already start talking about next year as soon as the shit is over. If niggas wasn't hurt, I'm telling you right now, watch what happens next year. It's still games going on this year. And niggas already immediately, as soon as they get bumped, next year, da-da-da-da. And I ain't disagreeing, because listen, New York's a great market. When New York is winning, it's great for sports. And we did see that the ratings were very, very low with OKC and Indiana as far as people watching it. Then that's how their moral victory comes in. See nobody watching that bum ass shit. Niggas ain't lit. niggas ain't lit. They're the world champions, lit or not, regardless. So I agree with you, Mo, with the two most overrated franchises is the Knicks and the Dallas Cowboys.
Who is your